Hello and welcome. In this video we're going to have a look at Microsoft Teams and see how we can use it to collaborate effectively with our team or department. So we're just going to run through some of the basic functionality and features and see how it all works. Okay, let's get started. So let's start by seeing how it is that we get to Microsoft Teams. Once we're in Office 365 we can go via the Apps Launcher and choose Teams. This then opens the web version of Teams, and if we look to the top we can see that there is a note here about downloading the desktop app. This is a good idea to do simply because it can provide a better experience. Here it is, and we can see it looks very similar. You can also download Teams for mobile devices. Alright, so let's see what we've got. Now down the left hand side here we can see icons for activity, chat and teams that we're at currently. In the middle here is the list of teams that we are a member of and the channels that exist within those different teams. So I've got teams for general business, training, marketing and so forth. So the conversations in those teams are divided up through these different channels, which is a way of just categorizing and grouping the different conversations that we have. Creating new channels is very straightforward. We can just mouse over the team here, click on more options, and we can see there that we get the ability to add a channel. To create a new team, we go to Add Team in the bottom left-hand corner here, and then Create Team. Add the name for the new team. We can add a description. We can choose whether the team is private or public. So if we make it public, then anyone can search and join. If it's private, then it's only for people invited into the team. And we can also link the team to an existing Office 365 group. So we could choose to effectively convert our existing Office 365 group into a team to benefit from the team functionality. Okay, click on Next. The next step is to add the team members. So I'll add my colleague Kerry, and then Conan, and then add, and that's it. We then click close. Those people that have been added to the team already will receive an email confirmation with a link through to the team. So looking at the conversations themselves, where there has been recent activity in a conversation, that conversation gets moved to the bottom, and then beneath that is space to start a new conversation. So let's imagine I just want to do a reply to an existing conversation. Click into the box here, and I'll just add my reply. And that's very simply added to that conversation. To start a new conversation, we can use the box at the bottom here. So what I can choose to do here is to @mention either individual people or everybody within the team as a way of directing the conversation and notifications to them. So I could @mention here training, as that is the group name, or I can just choose to @mention an individual, such as Kerry here. Here we can see the message from Conan that I was @mentioned in. So here I might choose to like this, and again I could do a quick reply. Okay, let's do a new conversation here, and I'm just going to paste in reference to an article which I've copied, and you can see how it automatically gives that nice preview to the article. Let's have a look at some of the formatting options. So I'll just do a quick reply on this. Okay, so we've got some basic formatting commands that we can use. So if I select the text here, you can see I can use the buttons at the bottom and apply some standard formatting options. And if we look at the other buttons at the bottom, we can see we've got a button here to attach files. Well, we'll come back and have a look at files as a separate topic in a bit. Then next to that, buttons for emojis. And really cool is the GIFs that we can choose to include. Okay, let's have a look at this. So we get a really great selection of these GIFs, and we can search as well. So maybe I want to search for popular or something. I like the look of this Friends one, so let's choose that. There we go. We also get stickers as well, which are quite a similar thing. And all of this is just adding to creating quite a sort of social and fun environment to be able to do that sort of collaboration. Okay, so let's come back now to talking about files. I'm going to come back to the general channel. So we can choose to add files to conversations. So I'm going to respond to Kerry's conversation here. Okay, so I'm going to attach the file, click the little paperclip button, so I could reference a file that's already in the team or upload one from OneDrive or from my computer, which I'll choose this time. There's my reports. And there we go, the document is now referenced in the conversation. Now what that also means is that that document is automatically added into the files list. Within each channel we have a separate files list, and we can get to that through the navigation bar at the top here. See, we have these different tabs. So at the moment we're looking at the conversations. If we click onto files, we see all the files that are a part of the team. And at the top there is my communication analysis document that I just uploaded into the conversation. So that's a nice feature, you know, we can reference those documents in the conversations we have, and then they just get automatically added to the files list here. Just notice there is a few other commands as well, so we can choose to upload directly into the files list if we wanted to. We can choose to actually open the files list as a SharePoint document library if we wanted to pull in some of that SharePoint functionality. And now we can also choose to link to external cloud storage, so Dropbox or Box, for example. Just be aware though that at the moment the files part of Teams is a little bit limited. For example, you can create folders here, but we have found some issues around that. So for now, what we would recommend is only use the files list here, almost like a temporary storage location for files that you're going to need to work on and reference in those conversations that you're having in the channel. Don't yet think of Teams as being a substitute for SharePoint document libraries. SharePoint should still be used as that main location for storing your team and shared documents. Now, running across the top here, we can see we've got some other tabs. A really nice part of working in Teams is that we can easily connect to other resources that we might need as a team. We can add tabs for all sorts of different content at the top here. So for example, I have already linked to a quick reference guide. It's actually a PowerPoint file that we're linking to, and we can open that up in PowerPoint itself if we needed to from here. Coming further across, you can see I've already linked as well to a planner. So if I click on training tasks, we can see here some tasks through Planner. So we can choose to add these tabs for all sorts of different functionality. If I click onto the plus here, we can see some of those choices that we get. So we can link to Microsoft type content, to an Excel file or a PowerPoint deck as I did. And then also there's the option of linking to third-party apps and tools as well. And if I scroll down, you can see some of the other apps that we can choose to link to, such as Trello and YouTube, for example. Okay, let's have a look at some of the other parts of Teams now. I'm going to come across to the top left-hand corner and come to my activity feed. So here is where I see the activity which is being directed to me. So potentially I might be in quite a few different teams. So to help me just keep on top of those conversations that are most relevant to me, I can come to the activity feed to get an overview of where I have been mentioned, either individually or as part of that team. So we can see in my activity, top of the list is where Conan had referenced me in a conversation about the focused inbox. The next part is chat. So this is a place where we can choose to have conversations which sit outside the main teams and channels. Works in a very similar way. You can see this threaded conversation that we're having here, but it just sits outside of that main team conversation. So we might just want to have a private conversation with an individual, and we don't necessarily want that to be referenced and seen by all of the team. The next part you can see there is meetings. Now there's a couple of different ways in which we can choose to use meetings. We can choose to schedule meetings from Teams if we wish to, which is really just an alternative to using Skype for Business for those scheduled meetings. We can also choose to have quick meetings with people, which is really useful. So if I come back to the Teams, so we might decide that it would be useful to have a discussion around this document that I've just attached to the conversation. So we can just organise an instant meeting through the Meet Now button at the bottom here. So that's meetings, and then the last icon at the bottom there is for files. Well, that just pulls together files that are relevant to me from all of the different teams that I am a member of. Also, just notice the buttons at the bottom here. Here is how we get to our settings, including importantly controlling how the notifications work. So there we go, that's Teams. Hopefully that's given you a really nice introduction to the functionality within it. As you can see, it's very simple and social. The way that we navigate through the different teams and conversations is easy, and the ability to bring in that different type of content also makes the Teams a really good place to collaborate within.